Dr. Carl Hart, welcome to the Daily Social Distancing Show.
Thank you for having me, Trevor. Good to see you again.
You have a new book out that's got everybody talking, Drug Use for Grown-Ups. Now, just to set the stage, you are a tenured professor at Columbia, right? You're an established and respected neuroscientist. You are not some dude who's just like selling bankies, like little baggies of weed or whatever. This is like we're talking to a doctor here.
Yes.
First things first. What is the biggest misconception around drug use? Because when people say like drug use for grown-ups, people might be like, wait, you talking like Vicodin? What do you mean by drug use?
Yeah, so when I'm talking about drug use, I'm talking about the fun drugs that people take: cocaine, MDMA, psilocybin. And the biggest misconception is that most people who use these drugs are addicted. The vast majority of people who use drugs are not addicted. 70, 80% of those people who use drugs don't have problems like addiction. They are responsible individuals. They go to work, they take care of their families, they pay their taxes, responsible people, they're professionals. And that's one of the reasons that I wrote the book, so to clear up some of those misconceptions.
You speak from experience. I mean, I remember how shocked people were when you said, oh, I use heroin. Everyone was like, wait, what?
Yes. So let's talk about that for a second. So I acknowledge heroin use, cocaine use, MDMA use. I acknowledge all this drug use in order to dramatize the fact that most people who use these drugs are not addicted. So I wanted people to see somebody who's responsible, somebody who writes books, somebody who meets their obligations, so they could understand that, see, we've been misled. Instead, they don't want to believe that. But one of the major concerns when we think about the drug in themselves, let's think about a drug like fentanyl. Fentanyl has been approved in the United States in medicine since 1960. So we use fentanyl in medicine safely, not a problem. But when you think about somebody like Prince, for example, he died in part because he had fentanyl in a drug, in a pill that he thought was oxycodone, a Percocet. He didn't know fentanyl is a lot more potent than oxycodone. So if the same amount that you take of oxycodone and you take that same amount for fentanyl, can kill a person. And so if Prince knew what was in his drug, he might still be with us today. So in the book, I'm arguing we need to regulate these things. We need to make sure we have drug checking facilities so people will know what's in their substance, so it decreases the likelihood of them dying from ignorance, not knowing what's in their substance.
If somebody's addicted to cigarettes, is that as bad as being addicted to crack? Are the effects of certain drugs not worse than other drugs in the addiction?
Yeah, so let's think about that. We can think about people who are addicted to alcohol. And then if they abruptly discontinue their alcohol use, they can die. The same sort of thing is less likely with something like heroin. So alcohol withdrawal can kill people. So when we think about the severity of addiction, alcohol is one of the sort of worst. But we manage to deal with that okay in our society, although we still lose people every year from alcohol withdrawal. But the point is that it's an important point here. If the majority of people who use any drug are not addicted, it tells you that you have to look beyond the drug itself. There are other factors that are important for drug addiction. Other factors like psychosocial factors, psychiatric factors, like people who have co-occurring psychiatric illnesses are far more likely to be addicted to a drug than somebody who doesn't. So it tells us as a society, we have to be better. We have to treat people better. We have to do better. We have to make sure we have social safety nets. All of these things will radically decrease the amount of addiction that we see in a society. But when we focus on a drug, then we're not focusing on the most important aspects of addiction.
What terrifies me, though, on a completely uninformed level, I look at the stories. I go, man, Whitney Houston, and then DMX. I read in the news, DMX, and they go like, what happened? And he's in a coma, and you're like, it's because of drugs. And then I go, man, Dr. Hart, I mean, I'm all for people legalizing drugs, but I don't want to keep losing people. Is there something that I'm missing when I think like that?
Yeah, let's think about Whitney. Oftentimes, you see the headline. She had cocaine in her system. and it probably had nothing to do with her death. She died in a bathtub because she fell asleep. She also had antihistamines in her systems, which you can get over the counter. She had benzodiazepines in her system that she was prescribed. She fell asleep in the tub. So if anything, you know, you wanted her to be awake. Cocaine keeps people awake. And so people need to understand that the headlines are often wrong. Let's think about DMX. I don't know what happened with DMX yet. We don't know, but there are a number of people who are speculating. And it'll be nice to know, but that's why we're trying to get the right information out. So if there was a drug involved and he may have hidden what he was doing because it's stigmatized, we hope people come out of the shadows and they can seek help, or they can seek information about doing the activity more safely so we don't lose people.
If you said to me 6 years ago, hey, Trevor, weed, should it be legal? And I'll be like, that is the devil. People are going to smoke the weed, and it's a gateway drug, and it's going to kill them all. Because that's what I was brought up to believe in my school, in my community, in my life. Now I look and I go like, man, I was an idiot. I can't believe I even thought that. So how are we all so wrong? How did we all become programmed incorrectly then?
Well, so the first thing people have to understand is in the United States, drugs are not banned because of pharmacology or science. Drugs are banned because of racism. We banned all of these drugs originally because of their association with despised group. The opioids we banned because of our hate of the Asian Chinese folks. Cocaine because of our hate of Black people. Marijuana because of our hate of Mexican Americans and Black people. And so when we understand why drugs are banned in the first place, then we can start to look behind the sort of curtain and see some of the what the reality really is. Like you said, with marijuana, you can no longer fool people because more than 50% of adults have used marijuana in their life. So it's harder to fool them. But with something like cocaine or crack, it's still easy to fool people because most people haven't used that drug. It's still easy to fool people about heroin because most people haven't tried heroin. And so as we increase the number of users with these drugs, it becomes more difficult to fool people. Or when you have people like me and other scientists who speak up, it will become less likely that we mislead the public. But you have to remember, Trevor, there is a lot of money in misleading the public about drugs, in science, in law enforcement, all of these sort of industries that have popped up around prisons. So there's a lot of money in this. People have to know and remember that drug trafficking, the illegal drug trafficking business, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And that industry is supported primarily by middle class and upper class people, white people. But when we think about drug users, we don't think of them as being the users. So there are a number of people in our society who know that drugs are not the boogeyman, are not the devil that we've been told. But they are comfortable doing the activity for themselves, but they don't want anybody else doing this activity. People need to remember that.
And then what do you say to the communities out there, especially Black communities, where community will go like, Dr. Hart, what are you doing? We watched the crack epidemic destroy our communities. Why would you advocate for drugs?
Yes, I'm not advocating for drugs, by the way. I'm just saying that if people are using drugs, we shouldn't throw them away because of their drug use. We should look at their other behavior. That's what I'm saying, number one. And number two is that when we talk about the crack epidemic destroying the Black community, it was just wrong. I mean, it's true that people had problems, but when we think about things like unemployment, the highest unemployment rates in the United States in Black communities was 1982. Crack didn't come on the scene until 1985, but yet crack is blamed for that sort of thing. We think about violence. We had peaks in violence in 1933, 1980, 1991. Crack was on the scene in 85 for the 91 one, but we've had these periodic peaks in violence. That's how societies work. And so crack was blamed for these things that were really caused by things like Reaganomics and Reagan's economic policies. But crack was blamed. And so I'm trying to get people to understand that if you look beyond drugs, then we might find some real solutions.
Right. Well, I could talk to you for ages, but luckily, that's why you wrote the book. I hope people read it before they comment on it, because It's one of the most thought-provoking reads that I've had the pleasure of exploring in a very long time. Dr. Hart, thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.